Welcome back to part two of part two. But um yeah, you have to understand that some of you, the Lord has, you are his daughter. And I love listening to Tiffany Montgomery say that God has positioned us to be God's daughters. That we can come to him like a father, but in being positioned like a father's daughter, that we don't get the privileges sometimes in certain seasons because of the way that he's cultivated his relationship with you. If you're an intercessor, that means you have to be pulled away quite often, meaning you have to go into your season in the cave, you have to go into your season of isolation. So, no, you're not going to be out there like that. So, maybe he's cultivated a relationship with you that a lot of time you're looking out the window hoping to go out. Does that mean that you're ever going to get there? Yeah. In your exaltation, you will. But in the season that you're in preparation. Because your particular story and your particular exaltation, it takes a level of preparation that's a little bit different. Was Esther and the girls, when they were going through their year of frankincense and myrrh and beauty treatments, were they out in the world? Were they shopping? Were they out amongst the people? No, they were sequestered in the palace in a particular area until each one of them had been gone through until they were then positioned as their spouse to Xerxes. Some of you, because of the position that your spouse has and the level of exaltation in relation to what your spouse is going to have, you have to be hidden. God's hiding it until the completion. But why are we here? You're talking about the exaltation, right? Now you have wisdom of your exaltation. The Father has given you wisdom in coming into Him and walking with Him, that you are now being positioned. And because you're being positioned, He had to pull you away, just like Esther had to be pulled away. Sanctified, cleaned, cleansed. Your sanctification looked like a wilderness process where he was pulling away all the things that could not go with you to where he was taking you. And he took you through the times and the seasons and the processes and the this and the that. And it hurt and it was uncomfortable because he had to strip you of belief systems, mentalities, emotional, mental, physical beliefs, societal groupings that were no longer serving you for where he was taking you. And it didn't feel good. So he had to strip you of that. Just like this young woman in this film, once she figured out that she was a princess, her entire life to what she thought that she was going to live completely changed. When God brought you into him and he prepared you for being what he was calling and exalting you to be, what was always meant to be your purpose, the life in which you left behind. Remember, we talked about this in what's the scripture? I don't remember. I believe it's Luke, the book of Luke. Luke, what was it? Because I looked at a couple different scriptures on Luke, and my brain is putting them all together right now, and I cannot think of which one is the one that I'm trying to think of. Um, but when it comes down to it, you will leave mother, father, brother, house and home to follow the Lord. And some of you have. In your journey and walk with the Lord, that in your wilderness and preparation process, you have done that. You walked away from people. You walked away from places. You allowed God to take you to a place where He was allotted the ability to put you in the wilderness, prune you, prep you, and prepare you in ways that you never would have agreed to if it wasn't for God. Because under normal circumstances, you probably would have said, this is for the birds. I'm going back to where I came from. But you allowed the Lord to take you through that season because He said, I'm with you all the way through this. If you follow me and you walk through this experience, I'm going to exalt you to such a level that you're like, I'm holding you to that, Jesus. Some of you are going to be mid-range. Some of you are going to be lower range. But you're going to have a level of exaltation that is going to position you. You're going to go from the back to the front. You are going to go from being the person that was ignored to being the person that is about to be exalted. And God had to cultivate you for that. And He had to do it in private. You walked away from jobs, positions, things that you thought that you were going to do with your life. This young woman found out that she's a high schooler and she wasn't going to live the life in which she thought. She'd made friends, environmentalist stuff they had planned to do together, and she had her little Mustang and she had all this type of stuff, and I'm sure that she had life plans for herself that she was going to do certain things, but grandma came in and said, nah, you're the princess of Genovia and we need you to take your position. When God tapped you and said, I need you to come to me because it's now time for me to position you where you need to go. Some of you were like, all right, it was cool when you went through the first phase of it. Then you went through the wilderness and that was kind of dark. But now God's saying, I'm about to exalt you. We are in that season where we are between the moment where Joseph is pulled from the prison and positioned as the new emperor. This is where we're at right now. You're about to be positioned. And why did I bring this particular story up or this film? Because there comes a point of not contention, but concern as you are being positioned for this. She first went back to her mother and started to express her feelings about the fact that, why didn't you never tell me that this is what it was supposed to be? Some of you, God has let you know and given you vision and given you understanding just a little bit at a time, to show you throughout this journey where He's been preparing to position you. And some of you, because of where He's positioning you and because of how close it is, He's given you more wisdom of what He's positioning you for. Some of you just wanted the marriage, to be happy and married and off in your little corner. The first thing I recall hearing this young woman say is, no, I don't want to be princess. I'm that person that wants to be in the background that nobody sees and nobody recognizes. I'm going to tell you what I wanted to be before the Lord pulled me into His loving arms and showed me the lifestyle He was desiring. I wanted to be one of those fashion designers that went into the industry and I had my own little clothing line and I was happily creating, ready to wear clothes and garments. And I'd have been happy if I had my own little boutique or what have you. My own little designs, because I've been a designer for years. I'd have been happy with that. With my nice little apartment, and that would have been the thing that I would have been chasing after for my career. And maybe been one of those types of people like, you ever see Vera Wang? She ain't really never changed her clothes. She kind of had her own little uniform. You don't really see her, though, much out and about. But her name's known. Everybody knows who Vera Wang is. When you see her, you know who she is. But it's not like she's out here like Kimora Lee Simmons, who was the face of Baby Phat, who was doing all of this. But hey, it's her work that speaks. Them wedding gowns are legit. She even has, if I'm not mistaken, she finally went into jewelry. I think she went into jewelry, and she also did furniture. But you don't often see her. That's what I wanted. Give me a clothing line, give me a bag line, give me all of that. I'm going to be a blogger. We're going to talk about some of the blogging. What's the trend? What's the hottest color of this time? That's what I wanted back in the day. I will write my blog and be invisible. I'll go to the fashion show and I will present the clothes. But you ain't going to barely see me. The only time you see me, you know, when the fashion designers come across the runway just at the end of the show and be like, hey, wait, that was going to be me. And I'm going to go right back into my little cave because I done designed the clothes. That's it. You see me in the background, but you ain't really gonna talk to me that much. I'll be where I need to be, but I ain't out here like that. And God was like, that was so cute. That's the life that you wanted. Then I found out about these YouTube influencers. I was like, maybe, just maybe, I can become one of these fashion influencers. And I started my own blogging channel back in the day. Because I started out writing articles. I would do 36 articles, and I even had my own presentation for a magazine template. I think I did four templates. Where they are to this day, I don't know, because I had them. I even had the website for where they were, but I don't know where they are anymore. Some of y'all had plans for your careers. Some of y'all had plans for your life. And God said, that's cute. But if you come with me, I'll give you something better than that. If you'll exchange your plans for mine, as according to his word that states, not my will, but thy will. There's a way that seems right to a man, but the end thereof is death. And that wasn't the scripture I was looking for. It was for, what is it? Jeremiah 29 and 11. Or 11. Yeah, 29 and 11 that states, for I know the plans that I have for you, to give you a life and a better future. Because my ways are not like your ways. My thoughts are not like your thoughts. That was the one I was looking for. So this young woman is now given a understanding that her entire life is nothing that she thought that it was going to be. And that's what God does. You have to give up all of what you thought. And if you trust God, he will show you. If you trust me, I'll get you that. But you got to trust me. I know it looks like you're sitting still right now, but I got to prepare you. And for those of you, let me just say this. Some of you, the reason that the Lord had to isolate you, and you wonder, why, God? Why do I got to be isolated? Why do I got to? Everybody else is getting to do, and I'm not. But this quote that I kind of live by. You are willing to do what others wouldn't to get a result that others will not get. Yes? There are prayers that you prayed that most people wouldn't. There are prayers that when people said in ministries, God wants you to pray big prayers. To them, a big prayer was, can I get a 4th-floor house? That's all I want. But you're that person that when God said, pray big prayers, you said, can I get an entire space of land that we can turn into a property, that we can house homeless, that we can do this, that we can do that, that I can get, and it's like some people would say, oh, I want to be in film or an actor or a producer, and you're that person that when God said pray big prayers, you're that person that said, I want the studio that's bigger than a Tyler Perry studio. Can we go bigger? Can we have that? Expansive space. The Lord put something in your presence or gave you wisdom. It's like, I want that. And it's not a little thing. Because you're like, well, you a big God, and your word says in Ephesians 3:20, and you used his word to pray it like others would not have. You wielded the word in a way that most people wouldn't. And God said, I'm going to sit you down right here. I'm going to let you pray. Because you think that you're not doing anything. But because you're wielding the word the way that you are, you're a threat. So I'm going to sit you down over here. And I'm going to let you do what you do best. And that's wield that word. You're going to pray and I'm going to answer. You're not going to see it. Because I'm exalting you. But you're going to pray and I'm going to answer. A lot of us, especially those that are really into prayer, that have been really into asking, and we ask for the big thing. God said, I will bless you with finances. For my word says, I will make it rich and add it no sorrow. And some of y'all had the audacity. You're like, oh, you make it rich and add it no sorrow? And it ain't even the fact that you sat up there and said, I want billions of dollars. Some of you didn't want all that. You know what I said I wanted? I'm going to tell you the honest to God truth. There's been finances in my life that was stolen from me. And one of the ministers I listened to brought up Proverbs 6:31. The enemy got caught stealing and had to pay back sevenfold. And I just said to myself, let me sit down here because I'm a prayer warrior and let me calculate what sevenfold of what the things that were stolen in my life did. Some of y'all didn't do that. And God said, I can use you. Because not only are you asking for it, I can get it through you. Because when God blessed you with a little bit, you took that little bit and you sold the appropriate amounts. Not only were you willing to sow, you were willing to sow more than what was the average. You were willing to help the poor more than what the average Christian is willing to do. You were willing to listen and be obedient more so than what the average Christian that says that they love God is willing to do. You were righteously indignant about things that upset God. And God said, no. I know that you want to be over there. And I've showed you that's where you're going to be. But right now I'm going to let you sit here because you're my daughter and you're obedient, because you're my obedient daughter and you take no flack. I'm going to sit you right here and I'm going to let you pray. Because I'm going to answer all the things that you prayed about. And I'm going to answer because you picked that word up and you wielded it. So I'm going to exalt you in levels and areas that you didn't even know that you were going to be exalted in. And I'm going to give you wisdom. And then on top of that, not only did you wield my word, you knew how to fast and pray. So you not only knew how to use the word, you knew how to weaponize it. So I really needed you to sit in the corner because you're my secret weapon. But I thought this was about exaltation. It is. Because you were the one that wielded the word. Because you were the one that prayed the prayers. Because you were the one that fasted. Because you were the one that when God told you, you weren't going to easily be shaken if you fell. You weren't easily going to be shaken and say, I'm going to walk away from this when. Nah, you were the one that got mad and kept going. It's like, oh, the enemy tried to come at me this way. So I'm going to pray even harder. And God said, no, I got to keep you to the side because you are a special threat. That's why you had to wait so long. But God, she just got what I asked for. God, she just got, I know they did. But see, the way you wielded the word, the way that you did it, when I exalt you, it's going to be like that. When I exalt you, done. Where they may have had to go this and do this, I'm going to sit you here and I'm going to have you do this. Just do this. Just do this. I know you got instructions. I gave it to you. I know you took the downloads and you did exactly what I asked for. I know you didn't take that time for granted. And because of that, because you put your hands to the plow when I told you put your hands to the plow, that thing that you created in that wilderness while you were birthing certain things. When I exalt it, it's going to be like that. People going to be wondering like, she's everywhere. Oh my God. Where'd she come from? She got this, she got that, she got the other, she got the other. And she got that. Because you were willing to do what others wouldn't, to get a result that others would not get. And you started with me. So because you are the king's daughter, oh, you thought I wasn't coming back to that? I'm about to change your whole life. So what you thought, you about to get that Ephesians exceedingly abundantly more than you could ask for or think, because you had the audacity when you read that scripture. You said, okay, I'm going to ask for the most I can think of. If you give me the entire planet. You ever seen that movie? I think it was Bruce Almighty. Was it Jim Carrey that was in that one? And he literally took the moon from the sky. Some of you got today's spouses are that type of person. They be like, if I can give you the moon, I'll give you that. What you want. But when God sees you are willing to wield his word and willing to do. My coach said to me one time, and she said this, I almost didn't hear her because somebody walked up at the time, and she said to me, God is proud of you for what you have done. There are things that the blessing and the exaltation is going to bring you exceedingly abundantly, even the most that you could think of, and you are willing to be that one that thought all the way out there. God said, I'm going to do better than that. Because you was willing to test me. It says in his word, prove me not that I will not open you the windows of heaven and pour you out a blessing that you will not have room enough to receive. You said, bet. But I had to sit you down for a minute and prepare you because you're my daughter. And because you're my daughter, do you think that I'm not going to make sure that the man that stands next to you, he's ready for it? Because sometimes the thing that's holding you up for what it is that you're waiting for is because God's saying, I gotta get them ready for you. Not so much, I needed to get you ready for them. I had to get them ready for you. There are people that you're going to cross paths with. They ain't going to be ready for you. Sometimes your warfare had to be that much worse because of the fact that the enemy is deathly afraid of what's going to happen when the people that are supposed to be connected to you are connected to you, and you really have the ability to move at the momentum that God is really trying to use you in. Oh, the devil's scared of you. So he had to exalt you and prepare you in private for what he's about to do publicly. So what they needed to do was prepare her. Just like Esther had to go through beauty treatments and treatments to 6 months of this, 6 months of that. Not only that, in this film, you see the main character. She has to go through a level of treatment, learning how to sit, learning how to curtsy, learning how to eat, learning how to do all of these things. God has been preparing you. He's been changing your diet. He's been sitting you down. He's been having you study out his word. He's been preparing you. He's been showing you where he was taking you. And he's been saying, okay, because I'm taking you here, you can't do this. I'm going to tell you something that happened. When God put me in my season of wilderness, I always wondered why for 4 years of my life I was in a secured building. And I'm simply like, God, why in the world is you? There's security guards at the door. There's security in the building. There's security in the halls. There's security. But then I had to think about it. Where God showed me he's taking me, it's going to be like that too. So that was just a lower version of the exaltment. There are people, look at presidential figures, look at celebrities, look at high power people in high power position. They are in armored cars. They got security at their sides at all times. They got people, kings and queens. They've got cars that drive them around with security personnel that is driving them. That's what this young woman had to deal with in this film. Some of y'all ain't going to just regular situations. And you were sitting there wondering, well, God, why did I have to go through? Because God said, I needed to prepare you in your wilderness to see this, because this is what you're going to be dealing with when I get you to where I'm taking you. You're going to have security guards standing at the end of your hallway. You're going to have security at the front of the building to make sure that you're secure. Because you're a king's kid, so you can't just be. They got people at the front door and at every exit because you're there. And you're that person that's just like, I just wanted an apartment in this building. And God's like, even the fact that you had the taste for a building that had security and a security system with an intercom, which also explains why I'm living in a scenario like this. There's an intercom in my building. That God literally has it situated like that. Because he's showing you where you're going, not where you are. She had cars taking her to school every day. She had a personal security guard. Some of you have personal security for where it is God is taking you. To you, it may not look like personal security. Maybe it's a person that you deal with on a day-to-day basis, but they're always on guard and always at watch around you. Some of you, that's your parent. I remember one season it was early in my walk, and there was this guy who was a security guard, and he used to always follow me. And then we started talking. He was a guy that wanted a relationship with me, and I ended up having to separate myself from him because of the fact that his interest was beyond what I desired to have with him. And it was one of those situations that God will align you with people in certain seasons that they're supposed to secure you. Now, if they cross a boundary that they're not supposed to be in, God's going to be like, yeah, you can't continue to have this relationship. But every season, there's a shedding, a pruning. If people stay in the right position, they stay. If the people do not, God releases them. May they come back later? If the Lord says so, let it be so. But in some cases, they may not. And you have to release and let that go. As this young woman was going through this process, she had her friends see her in a different light as soon as she changed. She changed her appearance. For some of you, what you look like right now is not going to be what you're going to look like when you are exalted to the position in which you are going to. Some of you have seen me in situations where this is my semi-basic. My basic is my head wrap. But this is my semi-basic, which is that everyday. This would probably be me in my house in an everyday circumstance when I move it to wherever the Lord's going to allow me when he exalts me to my positioning. This is probably going to be my basic. There's going to be a level of exaltation that there's going to be a transformation. You're going to get the makeup. You're going to get the hair. You're going to get some of y'all, and I know me, I wear protective styles, whether it be wig, whether it be lock extensions. You've seen the lock extensions and you see how I look. I look like a completely different person. Whether it be braids. I know me that I am going to desire. I can already see in my mind's eye what kind of, if I'm going to be on or out in community positions, I'm going to have particular hairstyles that I will wear. People will see me because I'm going to be or carry myself differently. Exaltation. Your hair is going to change. Your makeup's going to change. And some of that's going to make you look more alluring. It's going to draw more attention to you. It's a level of exaltment, and it happens in phases. And for some of you, it may not happen immediately, but as it's happening in the phase by phase. It's all exaltation. She didn't change overnight. It took weeks on end that they did that. For some of you, it took years on end of God training you and preparing you. But I'm going to come back for the next part.